Pakistan's political and military history has been defined by the interplay of power, secrecy, and influence. For decades, decisions that shaped the nation were made far from public scrutiny. Behind the walls of intelligence offices, in the corridors of military headquarters, and in whispered meetings with political leaders. To understand the recent indictment of Lieutenant General Faiz Hameed, we must first explore the historical pattern of military influence in Pakistan. From the early days after independence, the military has positioned itself as both guardian and arbitrator of national security. Generals became kingmakers, governments rose and fell, not always in accordance with the democratic process, but often in line with the calculations of the armed forces. In the 1980s, General Hamid Gul, DG of the ISI, expanded the intelligence agency's role beyond traditional security operations. Under his leadership, the ISI became deeply involved in political matters, shaping public opinion, managing alliances, and even influencing elections. This era laid the foundation for a pattern that continues to influence Pakistan today. In the 2000s, during General Ashfaq Parvez Kayani's tenure as Chief of Army Staff, the military maintained a high degree of operational discipline, but the institution still wielded immense influence over political transitions. Lieutenant General Zaheer-ul-Islam, another key figure, served as DG ISI during a time of significant internal and external pressure. He oversaw intelligence operations during periods of political unrest, highlighting how the agency became central not only to national security, but also to political stability or instability, depending on perspective. Enter Lieutenant General Faiz Hameed, a figure whose career reflects decades of evolving civil-military dynamics. Commissioned in the Balok Regiment, he rose steadily through operational postings before joining the intelligence apparatus at a senior level. By 2018, he became the Director General of Internal Security at ISI, and shortly after, the DG ISI. His tenure coincided with political turbulence. The government of Imran Khan faced growing opposition, while the military's role in politics remained deeply scrutinized by the media, civil society, and international observers. Critics allege that during this time, Faiz Hameed oversaw operations that crossed into political engineering, pressuring opposition leaders, influencing judicial proceedings, and shaping narratives within the bureaucracy. Supporters claim his actions were necessary to maintain stability, counter extremist threats, and protect national interests. Under his leadership, the ISI became deeply involved in political matters, shaping public opinion, managing alliances, and even influencing elections. This era laid the foundation for a pattern that continues to influence Pakistan today. However, the tension between civilian authority and military power became public in 2021 during a highly visible reshuffle. Faiz Hameed was reassigned from the ISI to the Peshawar Corps, a move reportedly resisted by political leadership. This incident exposed the fragile equilibrium between elected governments and the military high command. Observers saw it as a rare public display of friction between two of Pakistan's most powerful institutions. By 2022, after political changes brought a new coalition government to power, scrutiny of Faiz Hameed intensified. Testimonies began emerging from politicians, bureaucrats, and former officials. Rana Sanaullah publicly accused him of interference in investigations, while Shahid Khaqan Abbasi and Maryam Nawaz described him as having exercised influence over NAB cases and political appointments. Even former judges, such as Rana Shamim, submitted affidavits referencing undue pressure from intelligence officials on judicial matters. At the same time, internal reports, including confidential briefings by then DG ISI Asim Munir, reportedly flagged financial irregularities and potential misuse of authority by Faiz Hameed. The allegations included real estate acquisitions in Chakwal and Talagang, unexplained financial transactions, and alleged political manipulation within provincial administrations. The tipping point arrived after May 9th, when internal fractures within the establishment became visible. For the first time, the military initiated a formal legal process against a former DG ISI. The indictment reportedly covers abuse of authority, financial irregularities, political interference, and influence over judicial and administrative decisions. This is not just a case about one man, it reflects decades of systemic practices where intelligence agencies became deeply intertwined with politics. The historical parallels are striking. Hamid Gul's era introduced direct political involvement by intelligence. Zaheer-ul-Islam operated in a time of growing internal and external pressure, managing both state security and political influence. Ashfaq Kayani maintained operational discipline while overseeing strategic political interventions. Faiz Hameed embodies the culmination of these historical trends, now facing accountability in a manner previously unimaginable. International observers have noted that Pakistan's political trajectory has often been shaped by these invisible interventions. The UN, human rights organizations, and political analysts have repeatedly expressed concern about the lack of accountability and the blurring of lines between military authority and civilian governance. National Accountability Bureau reports, parliamentary testimonies, and media investigations highlight that such influence was not isolated but systematic. Operations within Punjab, Sindh, and federal administrative departments reveal a pattern of political engineering that spanned multiple administrations, affecting elections, party dynamics, and legal proceedings. This extended documentary also considers the broader implications. If accountability is genuine, Pakistan may be witnessing the first credible attempt to hold a senior intelligence official to account. If selective, it risks reinforcing perceptions of internal power struggles rather than genuine reform. The indictment also challenges long-standing traditions of immunity and discretion for the military elite. For decades, generals operated without public scrutiny. Now, with Faiz Hameed under indictment, a precedent is being set that even the most powerful figures may be answerable to formal investigations. Yet, history reminds us that systemic reform is slow. Civil-military imbalances date back to the 1950s, entrenched through coups, constitutional amendments, and political interventions. Every case of accountability must contend with decades of institutional culture, patronage networks, and informal power structures. For the public, the implications are immediate. This case has revived debates about rule of law, transparency, and the accountability of institutions. It has raised questions about whether Pakistan can transition from personality-driven politics to an institutional culture that prioritizes impartiality, fairness, and governance. For analysts, the case is a rare lens into the inner workings of the military, intelligence agencies, and their relationship with civilian leadership. For historians, it is a continuation of a long, complex story, one in which personalities, institutions, and national crises intersect, shaping the trajectory of a nation that has repeatedly struggled to reconcile democratic ideals with security imperatives. The indictment of Lieutenant General Faiz Hameed does not conclude this story. It begins a new chapter. It invites Pakistan to reflect on the lessons of history, that unchecked influence erodes trust, that secrecy without accountability corrodes governance, and that true stability requires balanced institutions, not just powerful individuals. As the legal process unfolds, it will determine whether Pakistan can apply accountability consistently. It will reveal whether reforms are genuine or merely tactical, and it will show whether the next generation of leaders can break the cycle of selective justice that has dominated the country since its founding. In the end, the story of Faiz Hameed is not just about one man. It is about Pakistan itself, its institutions, its people, and its future. A story of power, secrecy, and the fragile line between authority and accountability. A story that reminds us that history is never static, and that the decisions made today will define the Pakistan of tomorrow. Thank you for watching this in-depth investigation. If you found value in this analysis, please support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us continue producing independent, fact-based journalism. All information presented in this documentary is based on publicly available reports, media coverage, court documents, and statements from relevant individuals and institutions. This video is created solely for educational and informational purposes. It does not intend to defame, target, or accuse any person or institution, and all subjects are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Viewers are encouraged to conduct their own research and form independent opinions. Thank you for your time again. Stay informed, Stay aware, and I'll see you in the next documentary.